Well, it's a crazy time in the world of silver, and I don't think it's going to get any easier anytime soon. People are paying £3,500 for 1 kilo bars of silver, and I'm taking the time to chop them up, melt them down, and make my own pieces of poured silver, and I'm charging less than I could if I just sold the kilo bars on eBay to, quite frankly, people who are just buying out of fear. It's mad, it's crazy, and I think it's really bad. But it's the free market and people are just going along with it, aren't they? It's mad. But I'm going to persevere. I'm going to keep pouring my own silver bars and making the beautiful art that I do and charging fair prices for work that I think speaks louder than just fear and crazy, crazy prices. Join me as we do another precious metal ramble, and going to see some silver pouring and silver stamping. Should be a good one. Let's go. Hello everybody, Backyard Bullion here. Welcome to another Precious Metal Ramble where we have down-to-earth discussions about all things precious and shiny. If you've been watching my videos for the last few weeks, you'll have seen that I'm gearing up for 2026 by chopping up a bunch of big silver bars and pouring silver into this mould where I am making our 1 ounce bars for 2026. So I thought I'd share a little bit of a behind the scenes kind of video whilst also talking about selling silver in 2026 and how it's kind of a strange situation at the moment because I'm chopping up these bars, right? These kilo bars that I'm seeing sell on eBay for £3,500 a kilo. That's mad. That's over £100 per ounce of silver that people are paying for kilo bars of silver that I'm chopping up willy-nilly, melting down into my poured silver. And were I able to sell any of my bars right now, after I take into account the price of silver, all my manufacturing costs, time, hallmarking, postage, I'm charging £90 an ounce. So part of today's video is to kind of talk a little bit about the craziness of the markets right now and the fact that I could just sell all the kilo bars that I've bought for my business for £3,500 on eBay and save all of the hassle and bother of chopping them up, melting them down and making bits of poured silver, just like the pieces you're about to see come out of the furnace right now. It's mad, it really is. Or that might be a good one. For those who haven't seen this before, it's that quick. The silver goes in the mould, give it a little tap, and hopefully we'll have a 1 ounce bar, or thereabouts anyway. That one might be just about an interesting feature on that bar, that's cool. So yeah, crazy times. I guess my message to people who are looking to buy silver right now is to buy for the right reasons, for the long term, rather than just for FOMO. Listen, I was wrong a couple of months ago when I did a video saying if you're buying kilos at £1,800 a kilo, you're overpaying. When now they're selling for £3,500 a kilo, which is absolutely mad. That is an underweight bar, so it goes back into the furnace. We're looking for 31.1. They're all stuck together. There we go. It's come on. Right, 30.7. Oh no, this is not turning into a good session. Now we've got 2 other bars here to test. 32.7. We have a bar. Let's quench it. Fantastic. And then the last one, which I think is probably a bit under. Yeah, 29.9. So we've got 1 out of 4. Oh well, I'll have to re-pour those ones that didn't quite work. And that's what I do. I pour my silver and I try and get it to look as good as possible. And you can see the labour that's involved just to make 1 bar there. Hit rate of 1 out of 4 ain't that great. Normally it's about 2 out of the 4. So to make my annual product run of close to 350 bars, 250 for the 4 and 100 for myself, is probably over 1,000 bars poured. So I'm going to head over to the anvil and we're going to show you a little bit of stamping as we continue our discussion all about the craziness of the markets right now. But first, a quick message from today's sponsor. After what we've all seen in the past few months with President Trump, President Putin and Xi Jinping, and with a trade war on key components for new supply chains that are forming, you will be amazed at how much work there is still ahead of us to bring security and minerals to the industrialised world and America. We know that Trump has enacted 50% tariffs relating to copper. The CCP has restricted exports on rare earth minerals, including recently they have announced restrictions on silver. Copper, gold, lithium, uranium, and for the first time molybdenum are 5 key minerals that today sponsor Vanguard Mining, ticker symbol UUUFF on the US exchanges, has direct exposure to in its diversified portfolio, spanning a number of safe US-friendly jurisdictions. Vanguard Mining is the first sponsor I have ever featured that is so widely diversified in multiple regions and numerous metals. UUUFF on the US exchanges, available at Interactive Brokers, Schwab, Fidelity, E-Trade and others. Vanguard Mining is very widely diversified with those 5 key resources. First up, gold. Gold projects in Brussels Creek, British Columbia. Gold, copper, palladium exploration project in the Kamloops mining district. Uranium. We all know that energy dependence is no longer just a talking point, it's a matter of national security. As the US looks to decouple from foreign supply chain vulnerabilities, the mandate is clear: secure, domestic, friendly jurisdiction uranium at any cost. Vanguard Mining control over 90,000 hectares in Paraguay's Parana Basin, strategically located right next door to Uranium Energy Corp's world-class UT project. Lithium. Argentine projects are key Western-friendly alternatives to dominant suppliers. Vanguard Mining, which has reclaimed 100% interest in Poquitos 1 lithium salar project in Argentina for no additional cost. Their high-potential brine asset enhances Vanguard Mining Corp's portfolio, just as lithium prices rebound and activity explodes past $8 billion in the sector. Copper. On consumption, Reuters reporting on International Copper Study Group's figures state that China consumes about 58% of the world's refined copper, reinforcing that China is not just a processor, but a dominant end market shaper in global pricing, inventories and investment. China's copper stranglehold via refining monopoly, ore imports, massive consumption and procurement leverage positions it as a gatekeeper for global electrification, creating risks amid tightening supply and trade frictions. But most interestingly and important is molybdenum. Molybdenum is not a consumer metal. You may well not have heard of it before. It doesn't make headlines, but it is indispensable. It strengthens steel, enables high-temperature alloys, and is critical for pipelines, defense systems, aerospace, and energy infrastructure. China holds a profound stranglehold on molybdenum, dominating primary production and leveraging export restrictions to control global availability while consuming a large share domestically for its own steel industry. Vanguard's mining inclusion of molybdenum alongside gold, uranium, lithium, and copper makes it uniquely positioned. If you're interested in Vanguard Mining or any of the topics that we've spoken about in today's video, then please go and check their website out and corporate presentation, which can be found linked down in the description box below. Thank you all for watching, and now back on with our precious metal ramble. Okay, so we're at the stamping bench, or my work table with an anvil basically, and we're going to stamp these up. These are the Silver Forum bars. In fact, we've got over here a whole bunch that I made earlier. Not all today. They take, as you've seen, if I only get 1 in 4 every time I pour some bars, they don't all turn out perfect weight. But we've got a bunch here that we are going to stamp, although I probably won't stamp too many in this video because it's bloody loud. And also, you do need a bit of concentration to do it. So, I've got ear defenders on. I hope it's not too loud for all of you fine people. But basically, this is what we do to go through our bars. We just stamp with the logo. That's come out nice and clean. And let me tell you, this takes quite a lot of experience to get right. Might look fairly simple, but the amount of times that I've learnt by error and got it wrong and messed up a stamp, or a stamp's jumped and double imprinted, it kind of sucks. So back to the topic of hand as to whether or not it's worth doing all of this right now. It is a bit tough in business. But that's business, I suppose, putting our 10-year anniversary mark on here. Don't stay in business for 10 years unless you adapt, unless you change, unless you change the way you've been doing things. And we've done that all throughout the 10 years that we've now been in business. There's a few little uneven spots on the edge of the bar there that I'm just going to flatten out slightly with the hammer. And you've got to make a nice product. You've got to have a good product. And you've got to evolve that product over time as well. It is pretty important to do that. So what I would say is, for me, I'm still happy to go ahead and make these. The long-term viability of this kind of business is something that's weighing on my mind, I have to say, especially when you see the market right now for bullion products being at £3,500 a kilo. And I get asked a lot, is now a good time to buy silver, to get into this game if you've never been in it? I'd say buying at £3,500 a kilo isn't good. And I would imagine that the person who's bought that has bought it because they've looked online and they've seen places like Bullion by Post. Not specifically throwing shade at Bullion by Post, it's just sort of the nature of the industry because of the VAT, the dealer premiums right now, the scarcity of stock. Dealers can kind of just charge what they like. So they see that, and they see that the dealers are retailing these bars at £3,500, and they think that's the going rate for the bars of silver. And so then they jump on eBay and they buy it. And I had this discussion with a gentleman on email who's looking to sell a 500 gram bar. And he emailed me saying, that the bullion dealers were offering them out at, I think it was like £1,900 a bar, was it? Or £1,800 a bar. 70, it was one of those, 17, 18, £900 a bar. But their buyback price is £1,100. And I just was like, well, yeah, that's the industry, unfortunately, because you lose the VAT, the dealer's premium as well, you lose. And then, you're left holding the asset. So unless you actively go and search for the right buyer on a place like eBay and compete with all these big players, you're not going to get the returns that you want. And there's a lot of people who just don't understand that, which is a bit of a shame. So what I would say is, if you are looking to get into silver right now, be quite careful. Try and buy as low as possible in terms of premium, spot price. Get yourself on places like the Silver Forum. Sign up to our newsletter. Not that I've had a lot of silver come in lately. Everybody's trying to hold on to it. Nobody wants to sell at the moment, which is understandable, quite frankly. I've had a lot of inquiries. I think a lot of people sort of testing the water as to where prices and premiums could be. A gentleman who had I think it was 200 ounces, and they wanted net £100 an ounce for it. It's just not going to happen right now. Well, having said that, I watched a hilarious video for a well-known, it might be well-known, it might not be well-known. They've got 350,000 subscribers on YouTube, and they're huge on Whatnot. I'm not going to name the business in particular, but I'm sure some of you might follow them. But they're a pawn shop, and they put a short up of a chap coming in, and he said, I want to buy some silver for a 12 to 18 month investment. And the shop owner says, okay, yeah, sure, well, they're at a premium right now. I've got Britannia, and they're 92 pence each. And he's like, oh, right, okay, well, what deals can you do? And he said, well, if you take 20 of them, I'll charge you £2,000. And they went, yeah, sure. Now, it's an edited video. Maybe that's just a really bad edit. Maybe they've done it specifically to engage people in the comments, because £2,000 times 20, or divided by 20, is £100 a coin, and he quoted him £92 a coin. So people paying that much for those coins, you're not going to see a return on your investment in the short term. And a lot of people in the comment section, it was hilarious, they were saying, well, that chap's kids will finally see a return on it. I mean, who knows, because quite frankly, silver could go well over £100 an ounce, 150, 200, who knows where it's going to be. I don't know. If it goes that far, I'll be very happy, as I have my own investment silver. I'll be a little bit sad if I do all the hard work on these 1 ounce Silver Forum bars and then sell them in May and June, which is the current release schedule for them, and then in July silver shoots to £250 an ounce. That would suck. But that's the nature of business, that's the nature of silver, and that's just how it is. But it does get me thinking about, and I touched on it in another video where I was chopping up the bars. I said, Mrs. Backyard Bullion asked me, like, well, what point do we just sell it all and realise those gains? Because there are some big gains that are had on some of the, we've been stacking for 10 years. There's some big gains in some of the beautiful capital gains exempt coinage that we've invested in. But I just feel like the world is falling apart. And I'll be talking a little bit more about that in my next video, about where I think the world will be and why I think silver is going to play a critical role in my portfolio as an investor, as a as a sort of middle-aged person with a family looking to the future and my family's future, and why I think silver and gold both play a huge role in that going forwards. So if you want to find out those opinions, then make sure you subscribe to the channel and let me know your feedback on these kind of production style videos where I just sort of start talking with my work going on in the background. I would love to know what you guys think about this, because it is good fun to do this kind of video, and I enjoy showing the process of these bars because, as I said, there is a lot of work that goes into them, and you know, part of me is like, am I just setting myself up for a pretty sort of failed business entity, really? Because you know, when you see people selling bullion for over £90 an ounce, £100 an ounce, and my current RRP would be, with postage, £90 an ounce for a handmade piece that is high quality, high finish, hallmarks. These ones will go up to the Edinburgh Assay Office for hallmarking. I don't know. It's a strange time, it really is. So let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. For those cool kids, what are we going to say today? I think we're going to say 2026, what a year, bring it on. That should be a pretty cool kid club comment that people can't just immediately copy. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments. If you're not subscribed, join me on the journey to 100,000 subscribers. That would be amazing to have you along, and we'll see you on the next video. As always, please make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.